Goldman for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to our witnesses for your service and being here today. After that effort to blame the victim for fraud by bad actors, let's first go back to the undisputed premise that the money appropriated by Congress, including by nearly all of my Republican colleagues on the other side during the past two Congresses, was both life-saving and economic saving as we faced the worst pandemic in our history. Now, as a prosecutor, I prosecuted rampant mortgage fraud that resulted from the subprime mortgage crisis, and we know there was significant fraud arising out of the TARP program following the 2008 financial crash. But I was shocked to learn in preparing for this hearing that many of the COVID benefits, or at least some of them, were available based on a self-certification process. Am I correct, Mr. Horowitz, that that means that individuals could receive COVID relief funds simply by certifying their eligibility without any independent review?
That's correct.
Now, would you agree, Mr. Horowitz, as also a former federal prosecutor and current IG of DOJ, that a self-certification process is a recipe for fraud?
Absolutely.
I read your opening statement closely, and I appreciate very much your call for more resources for data and data analysis, which, in my experience, is the most effective way of rooting out identity theft, unquestionably the biggest cause of COVID fraud as well as most other frauds. Mr. Horowitz, in your view, has the Department of Justice received enough money to prosecute fraud related to COVID relief funds to the very fullest extent?
I think that's going to be a question over time because they are ramping up dramatically as we are and as Secret Services and others. They will need additional resources, particularly this year and in the coming years, to deal with what I think will be a continued, substantial number of cases.
So you would certainly agree that the department would benefit from more funds for COVID relief fraud?
I believe they will need that this year and then the years to come.
I want to ask you to switch your hats now back to the Inspector General for the Department of Justice. And I'm going to direct your attention to a recent New York Times article entitled, "How Barr's Quest to Find Flaws in the Russia Inquiry Unraveled," which is dated January 26, 2023. Did you read this lengthy article last week, Mr. Horowitz?
I did read it.
Mr. Chairman, I ask for unanimous consent to introduce this article into the record.
Without objection, so ordered.
Now, this article is based on a months-long investigation by the Times exposing a tremendous amount of waste and abuse, but no fraud, by Special Counsel John Durham, who was assigned by former AG Bill Barr to investigate the origins of the Russia investigation under a false conspiracy theory. Mr. Horowitz, you released a report on that exact topic, didn't you?
We released our report about the handling of Crossfire Hurricane and the FISA matter in December 2019.
And Crossfire Hurricane, just to be clear, became the Special Counsel Mueller's investigation, right?
It was the what's been referred to colloquially as the Russia investigation.
Right. And you concluded that the initiation of a full Russia investigation by the FBI was legitimate and supported by the evidence. Is that correct?
I would want to go back and find the exact words I used in that report, but we determined we did not find evidence of inappropriate decision-making in that regard. But again, I'd want to use the precise language I used in that report. It is public. It's on our website.
Okay. And you referred one case to Special Counsel Durham, correct?
That's correct. An attorney, Mr. Kleinsmith, who we found had altered a document.
And he pled guilty. And other than that case, do you know how many cases Mr. Durham charged?
As to what's public, I have no idea if there's anything under seal. I'm assuming not, but I don't know the answer to that. There are 2 public cases beyond that.
And how many convictions did he get?
Other than the Kleinsmith case, the other cases were the juries found the individuals not guilty.
Mr. Horowitz, last night, Congressman Ted Lieu and I sent you a letter requesting that you conduct an investigation into Special Counsel Durham's investigation to see if Mr. Barr or Mr. Durham violated any department policies, regulations, or law. Have you reviewed this letter yet?
I was not aware that you had sent that until you just showed it to me, but I certainly will read it and review it.
Mr. Chair, I'd ask for unanimous consent to offer into the record, and could I just have
Without objection, the gentleman's time's expired.
Mr. Horowitz, can you just commit to right now?
Gentleman's time's expired.
this
We
letter
appreciate the
and
questions on
document
COVID and appreciate the passion for investigations. We'll get to that in the next few weeks, but thank you for the questions.